Right, so I'm back, and I completely forgot. But we have the European finals coming up very, very quickly. And by the European finals, I mean the European competitions that UEFA are hosting, of course, or have created, which, of course, includes the UEFA Conference League, the UEFA Europa League, and, of course, the Champions League. Unfortunately, my beautiful Barcelona was knocked out of the latter, but it's okay. Anyways, we're going to be going through each of the finals just really quickly and give my predictions on what's going to happen. The first one up is going to be the Europa League because that is the first one up in the calendar. I guess this one is actually happening tomorrow. That's why I'm bringing this video out now. Anyways, we will go with the Europa League, then Conference League, then finally the Champions League in chronological order. Anyways, going to the first game. So the first game is, of course, the Europa League final, which is going to be contested between Spurs and Manchester United. Hence why I'm wearing the Manchester United shirt. But don't be fooled, that doesn't mean I'm going to say Manchester United will win. Because both teams definitely have a chance to win. I mean, they have been phenomenal in the Europa League. In the Premier League, however, they're pretty evenly matched. They're just one right above the other in 16th and 17th place. Yeah, they've had a horrendous season in the Premier League. But in the Europa League, pretty good, honestly. I mean, I believe Manchester United are still unbeaten within the Europa League. They're the only team to do so within Europe. So congratulations to them. So long as they win this Europa League final. If they don't, then they won't be unbeaten in this league. But anyways, Spurs have also put on some pretty good performances. Of course, they had a lesser team in the semifinals, which was Bodo Glimt. But let's not forget that they actually beat out, I believe, the first place in the league form, which was Lazio in the quarterfinals. So beating a team like that on such high form, congratulations to Spurs. They did do it quite comfortably, quite easily, and they still have a very solid squad despite what the Premier League might say. They have a very good team, and they definitely have a strong chance of winning this Europa League final. Now, Manchester United, on the other hand, they also have a good squad. It's just they're not performing to levels that they should be. They also have Amad Diallo back. I thought he was going to be back for it, but he actually is. He's been playing for the past few weeks, if I'm not mistaken, and he's been doing pretty well. But of course, they still don't have, a natural number 9 that can, score a lot of goals. Rasmus Højlund, as good as he is and as many goals that he scored in the Europa League, he's not that, instinctive goal scoring machine that he should be for Manchester United side of this, that wants to challenge for titles. But of course, you have a very solid squad for either team, and they both want to win this for many different reasons. Now, Spurs, on one hand, they have not won a major trophy, I believe, since 2008. That's coming up on 20 years then, and even then, this would be their first European trophy. It's not the Champions League, but it's still a chance at winning a massive trophy that can put them into the Champions League next season. After their horrendous season, finishing in 17th or close around there, because there's still one more game left in the Premier League, they are going to be, fighting for this title as much as possible to finally get rid of those rumors that Spurs never wins any trophy, they're not bottlers and stuff like that. Now, Manchester United, on the other hand, have also had a horrendous season. Like I said, they're in 16th place. Could maybe finish a little bit higher, but around that area. If the bottom 3 teams had not been as bad as they were, both of these teams would be in a relegation fight, which would be awful. But anyways, Manchester United would definitely want to win this because they have all the history, they have all this idea, and they don't want Spurs to win a trophy. I feel like there's a lot of fans out there who don't want Spurs to win a trophy because of the jokes and the memes and stuff like that. But not only that, but Manchester United want to and arguably need to be in the Champions League in order to continue being Manchester United, the big team of Premier League football, of course. But they're not playing that well. They're just not grabbing the points that they should in the Premier League. In the Europa League, they seem arguably unstoppable. That's why for this Europa League final, it's going to be a very tough one, and I think it could even go down to penalties, to be honest. But I think my official prediction, I'm going to keep it... I'm going to go with the... I'm going to go for a 2-1 victory to Manchester United. There could be a lot more goals, to be honest. Injuries have plagued both sides, but I am going to say Manchester United to win it 2-1. I am going for Manchester United. I know, I'm wearing the shirt. You kind of should have already guessed it, but I still think it's up for them. The history behind it, the team, and just overall, they seem unstoppable in this competition. I could be completely wrong. They could just play horrendously, but I definitely do think Manchester United will win this. I think it could be by a bigger goal margin, but I'm going to stick with the 2-1 victory. There could definitely be a lot of goals. Both of these sides, their defenses are not so great, but I think they will definitely put up a good show, and I'm very excited to watch it tomorrow. But anyways, Manchester United will win it. Let's see what the Conference League will. A week after the Europa League final, we have the UEFA Conference League final. So I don't know why it's actually being played after, but regardless, it will be disputed between Premier League side Chelsea, right here, and La Liga side Real Betis. Both of these teams have shown out pretty well in this competition. I mean, Real Betis beat two-time finalists in this competition, Fiorentina in the semifinals, so good for them. I mean, they put up a really good fight. They went all the way to extra time, but Real Betis was actually able to get it done, a large part thanks to Anthony, a loanee from Manchester United. But regardless, Chelsea have also just been cruising by this entire season in the Conference League. They are doing pretty well in the Premier League. They're in 5th place right now with only 1 game left. So it seems like they could get Champions League football for next season, so they don't really need to win this trophy. But of course, they would still like it to just, win a trophy in this season. While Real Betis, they're still fighting for that spot in Champions League. I think they're in 6th place right now. I think that gets them Europa League. I could be wrong. They might not be able to get Champions League from the league, but they already could secure Europa League with it. But this Conference League would still be a huge addition to the trophy cabinet, just because it's another European trophy that they'd like to hold and just celebrate. And they kind of deserve it. Real Betis have had a phenomenal season, especially with the resurgence of Antony and then the likes of Isco. And I mean, I gotta say, there's a lot of good players on this team. Marc Bartra, Rui Silva. I think he might be injured, but they still have a lot of very solid players that can definitely show off and go off and beat this Chelsea side. But on the other hand, Chelsea are a very solid team that have a lot of good youngsters and a lot of class players like a Cole Palmer, like a Noni Madueke, or even Romeo Lavia or Moises Caicedo. They have a lot of good players that can definitely show what they got and demonstrate to the world that the Premier League is the best league in the world. But you never know, because you have 2 Premier League teams in the Europa League final, and then you have the Premier League team in the Conference League finals, but no Premier League team in the Champions League. So to try to predict this Conference League final, it's going to be very difficult because you have 2 teams, in 5th and in 6th place. Very funnily that they're only 1 place off of each other, of course, in different leagues, but still interesting to see how both teams can fare up against one another. But I do really think, and I am going to be rooting for Real Betis. I know I'm wearing the Chelsea jersey, which is kind of weird, but I am going to say that Real Betis will win this game. I think it will be a 3-2 victory to the La Liga side, the Spanish side. I have to say, I think they kind of deserve it. Their performance against Fiorentina, not only that, but even in the previous phases of Conference League, they've kind of shown that they are, you can arguably say that they're the best team in this Conference League, and they've been one of the best teams on form in 2025. They've been phenomenal. They haven't dropped too many points in the league or anything. Even when they faced Barcelona, who have arguably been one of the better sides or one of the best sides in 2025, alongside the likes of PSG, they tied against them, I believe. It was a 1-1 draw. Not only that, Real Betis have demonstrated that they can be a serious team, and I think they'll do it over Chelsea. I think Chelsea will be a little bit overconfident. They faced a Swedish team in the Conference League final or semi-final, and they've just been facing not terrible teams, because all respect to their teams, but Chelsea have had a pretty easy ride all the way to this final. Now they're going to be facing a real club or a huge team like Real Betis that has the history and will be out for blood and will be out for winning a trophy, which they haven't done in quite a while. So they will want to try to defeat Chelsea in this final. I'm just saying, I'm going to go for Real Betis to win it 3-2. I could be wrong, but it is definitely another game that I will be tuning in for, because they will be very interesting to see who wins. But last but not least, heading to the Champions League final, in which PSG will face Inter Milan. Now, I know it's ridiculous. A Barcelona fan who lost to Inter Milan in the semifinals is wearing an Inter Milan kit. I'm wearing it because, it's a gorgeous kit. I love this kit. This is really nice. I even have Barella on the back. Also, because I respect Inter Milan a lot. I'm a huge Barcelona fan. Nothing will ever take that away from me. But I have to give massive respect to Inter Milan. They did a phenomenal job in getting all the way to the Champions League final. And this is possibly the only trophy they can win this season. They are in second place in the Serie A title. Their draw up against Lazio was detrimental to their title charge because Napoli did drop points. They lost 2 points. And if Inter Milan would have won that game up against Lazio, it would have been on top of the table and it would have been in their hands. Now, with one game left to go, it's in Napoli's hands, and if Napoli wins, no matter what Inter Milan can do, they will win the title. Meanwhile, PSG have easily cruised to their League on championship. They won it a few weeks back, and almost unbeaten. They've only dropped a few points, and they lost, I believe, 1, possibly 2 games in the league. And now they're on for a treble. They're the only team left that will be fighting for this European treble, at least. Barcelona won the Spanish treble, which the domestic treble. But anyways, PSG can win. I mean, have already won their league table. I'm not sure when their cup final is, but they are playing the cup final. And now they're in the Champions League final. They will be up for those 3 trophies. And it will be among the elite sides that have ever won a treble, like Man City and Barcelona, and even Bayern Munich, who have done it, 5-6 years ago? Fair enough to them. But 2 very huge sides. You have one of the best offensive teams in PSG versus Inter Milan, one of the best defensive teams. We, yes, conceded a lot against Barcelona, but to be fair, Barcelona are an amazing goal-scoring team. And with that being said, there's a lot of things to talk about. As, like I said, Inter Milan will be trying to fight and take this away from PSG, but also trying to win their first Champions League title since 2009, I believe, or 2010. I think it's 2009. But they will want to bring that Champions League title back to Italy because they used to be the kings of Europe. They used to dominate this competition alongside Milan, alongside Juventus, who made a lot of finals. But now, you don't really see them. But Inter Milan have made it to a Champions League final within the past 3 years. They unfortunately lost to Man City, but it was a very close tie. It was 1-0 thanks to a Rodri masterclass that ultimately helped them win the Ballon d'Or in the next season. But Inter Milan, they are a defensive unit that can be very dangerous on the counter and have scored a lot of goals, beautiful goals from just very few attacks or very few chances. They are clinical, they are effective. Denzel Dumfries has been terror down that right-hand flank. Not to mention the 2 strikers that they have on top, Lautaro Martinez and Marcus Thuram, who have complemented each other so well and can definitely score a lot of goals. And of course, Nicolo Varela pulling the strings in midfield. It will be a very contentious fight against Vitinha and João Neves, and of course Fabian Ruiz, who have been one of the best midfields in all of Europe this entire season, despite their younger or like inexperienced or even just like smaller stature. They are just really good on the ball. They know they work really hard. They know when to make the play. They know how to make the play, and don't count them out for scoring a goal or 2. And then, of course, you cannot talk about PSG without talking about their amazing offense with the likes of Dembele, who is a Ballon d'Or candidate and arguably the front runner if they win the Champions League, of course. And then Kavic Kvaratskhelia down the left-hand flank, Barcola, who can be a starter or even come off the bench alongside the likes of Desiree Doué. And then you have Gonçalo Ramos and a few others. And then, of course, the savior between the sticks, Gianluigi Donnarumma. He has been phenomenal, especially in these past few ties. He really saved them up against Aston Villa. He was a huge part. And of course, also against Liverpool, he put on a master showing, a masterclass. He has been one of the best goalkeepers in this competition this season. So hats off to him. Very good for him. But PSG will definitely have a very tough fight up against them because Inter Milan, they are up for it. They are definitely going to be up for it. It's going to be a huge battle, and it's so difficult. It's going to be very difficult to try to predict. This one, I don't know. As a Barcelona fan, I don't want to say Inter Milan win it, but I also don't want PSG to win the treble. Realistically, I don't want either of these teams to win. But, I mean, I am wearing the Inter Milan kit, and Inter Milan winning it would kind of be like, oh, we lost to the best team in the competition. And also, it would be nice for Inter Milan to, be crowned as European champions again. With that being said, PSG do have just so much talent, so many good players. So, PSG, Inter Milan. I'm gonna go with a Inter Milan victory. Yes, I know. I'm wearing the Inter Milan kit. Kind of wanted to build the suspense for it. As much, honestly, my head is kind of saying PSG. My gut is telling me Inter Milan. I don't know why. Because, I mean, I saw the performance that Inter Milan put on. Yes, they can take a lot of goals, but Jan Sommer was... He saved so many crucial shots. Lamine Yamal could have scored 2 in both legs, but Jan Sommer was there. He was there to stop him, and I think he'll do the same up against Dembele and Kvaratskhelia and Desiree Doué. I will say they will score quite a few goals. I can definitely see this going all the way to penalties, potentially it being settled in extra time, and I think it will be. I think it'll be a 2-2 draw, and something, I don't know why, but it's screaming 4-3. No, that might be too many goals. I'm gonna say 3-2 as well. I think Inter Milan will take it all the way to extra time. I think PSG will dominate this game, or like have most of possession, a lot of chances, but Jan Sommer or their defense like Bastoni, or even the Cherby will help them not concede any goals, and it will be a victory to Inter Milan. They will win and score their game-winning goal in extra time. So it'll be 3-2 to Inter Milan. Very tough, but that's how I think it'll end. So those were my predictions for the European finals, the Conference League, Europa League, and the Champions League. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you guys disagree with me or agree with me. And I know, Barcelona fan, I'm out of this competition, but we'll be back next year. But regardless, maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong. We will see after, just in a few weeks. Anyways, I will see you guys in the next one. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, please like and subscribe. See ya. Let's.